Hello, everybody. How is everyone today? This is Pineapples and Checkers, and I'm Vesper Coreypaw on this one. The reason being is everything is gray on here, and sometimes my background is white, and Stormrunner blends in really badly. And this is so that the colorblind community can see what I am doing. Eventually, I may need to switch back to Stormrunner after I start adding color to the piece, but we will uh, deal with that when it comes to it. For now, we'll have Vesper here. Let me get some music going because I won't be talking very much unless y'all are asking questions. I will be talking about how to do the perspective tool because that was something that I was struggling with last time. Let me get the music going. May have to turn it down. Play, please. Okay, I do think I need to turn that down. Let's see. And also put it through my speakers instead of up here. But y'all will still hear it because it will be there. Give me one moment. Oh wait, no. This should be okay through the headphones. Am I coming through clear? Sorry. Okay, so I do need to turn down the headphone audio. Okay, well, let me switch it to speaker in case you do come in. Let me switch over. And then turn it on. Is that better? Okay. I mean, I'm using the boom bar. Um, that's why I had to put it through there. So let me switch that on the other stream. That should be the same because the volume and everything is proper. Is the same. So that should make everything come through. Is the music still? Oh yeah, the boom arm. Okay. Yes, I do need a boom arm. Especially when I'm doing art because it's in the way of um right now it's in the way. I still need to get that keyboard too because reaching around to get to my keyboard after I'm drawing is difficult. And I don't want to block the microphone with the tablet, so there's that too. Now, if anybody wants to know what I am doing, I am drawing my background for my stream. It is based off my art room. I will try to show the references that I am using as soon as I can. Um, the other thing is that most of the stuff that I do when I'm drawing, you can do traditionally with pencil and paper and everything. You just don't have the tools as quickly. So these perspective tools that I'm about to show you, you can actually use a ruler and a piece of larger paper or just another piece of paper behind your drawing that will do where the vanishing point will go. You will just have to draw everything, including the grid, by hand. I will show this eventually once I have the setup to show this. So don't worry, you don't need a tablet to do everything I am showing you. The sketch was done the last time I was in stream, and we had difficulty with the perspective tool. I know how to use it now, so let's go ahead and do that. This is Clip Paint Studio. Clip Studio Paint, I apologize. This is the Pro version, not the EX version, so I do have some limitations, but this is not one of them. So first of all, we're going to put a point, if you can see it here, in the middle of the um, screen, and then we're going to move it. Well, it didn't go where I wanted it, but we're going. Anyway, 1 second. I'm going to put one here and make it go to the line I made on the side. You can barely see it, but it is there. And then we're going to make the second one come down here. And again, this is not in the proper place, so we will make some adjustments with the object tool here. We are going to move the arm where it needs to go, and then move the perspective over. That includes this one here. It's not in the right place. We may have to move this up, which we're going to do. You just make adjustments until the lines are where you need them to be. You don't want your perspective too close to the canvas because it will distort it eventually. I am a little frustrated because I did this fine before the stream started. And I didn't have this problem, so yay. So once we get the perspective tool in, I am going to move it to the folder. That way it is on the whole image. And we're going to basically do this grid right here. And the way you do that is we will make another vector layer. Vector is where you can resize it without losing any detail. And yes, it does even include CSP's version of vector. However, when you save it outside of CSP, unless you actually export as something that is not vectorized, which you cannot do. You cannot save this as a SVG. You cannot save it as anything like that. So basically, you're using vectors so that you can resize it inside CSP, but it is not something that transfers outside of the program. It's still raster when it comes out. Now, raster means that when you zoom in, like say the sketch here, it will get blurrier if you go beyond the 100%. Whereas vector will not do that. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So I have made a new layer. I'm going to rename this perspective grid as well, because it's going to be my perspective grid. Just this one's going to be a bit more be done live. So let's take. You do not want to use the line tool. Well, you can. Let's go ahead and use the line tool. So take your line tool and definitely make sure you get one of your perspective lines where you need it as the bottom of the walls, but also continue to put some in as much as possible. It's frustrating because even though the perspective line does work, sometimes it will not let you draw like you want to. So let's adjust it a bit more. The object tool. You need to come up here. See, what is going on here? I need you to move over. There. Then I need it to move back a bit and over. almost where I need it to be. But so perspective grid. You have two options. You can use the line tool, which does work. It's just not going to be the utmost um, authority because it does end up going off sometimes. But we'll go ahead and use the line tool since it's a little bit easier. I am going to zoom out because the lines are not going to go where I want them. Now you see these blue lines I have across here? These blue lines are actually where I want to put the initial grid. So we're going to put one here. And it will hit the vanishing point. We're going to put one here. And again, we want to make sure it's lined up with the vanishing point. The reason we're doing this is because once we put down some of the perspective stuff, we're still going to need these lines to let us know how to draw certain things. That moved, so we will redraw that. Yeah, that is not doing what I wanted to do. To the perspective line. To the perspective line. Down here. As you go up, it should get wider spaced on the top as you go through here. Or at least it will look wider. They're still starting the same width apart because I made sure these were the same width apart. So now we'll do it on the other side. We'll start here. Get my perspective tool up here. Give me one moment. I will be right back. Sorry. No. Hello, welcome. I am back. Um, so until all technicality, I could, in theory, make sure to um could do this evenly because the perspective should be the same on both sides. But because I don't want to accident. See, this is what I'm talking about with the line tool. It is just not lining up like I need to. So let's start that over again. Let's make sure the center point is in the center. Are you in the center? No, it is not. So let's move now my perspective tool is where it needs to be. That's why I was off. Okay, so everything's where it needs to be now. So let's turn that grid back off. Guide off. The guides will make you snap to grid unless you have it turned off, but we have it turned on. So let's try this line tool again. Back to perspective grid. Let's go ahead and move these where they're even with the corners. That way we have an even grid line. We'll adjust everything in the sketch later. Come on. Do I have snap to grid on? I have the ruler bar. Snap. It should not be snapping anywhere I don't want it to be. Okay, I finally got it where it needs to go. So we should be able to technically make sure these are mirrored. So let's go ahead and start with the lines again, and it should not draw, I guess. What happened here? Even I don't know what just happened, so I think I accidentally turned the grid off somehow by turning it from blue to green. So I've put it back at blue. Yes, I don't even know how some of this stuff works. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this again. I know why. Okay. We need to put a perspective ruler on this one. So let's go ahead and add that. Make sure that it is okay. Perspective. No, I don't want perspective ruler. I want symmetrical ruler. There we go. It shouldn't say that. Hold on. There we go. Is that better? It should say art. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna put the perspective, the some symmetry tool, which is the same color as perspective tool, which I do not know why. And we will try to draw the um, perspective lines mirrored. Okay, that does work. This way we don't have to redraw them every time. On the lines to the perspective center and the vanishing point. As I said, everything does look wider as we go, but it is not. This is how it's an optical illusion. that is our walls. So let's go ahead and rename this. Actually, we're going to put this as perspective walls. Wall grid. So that we have the walls on a separate layer. And then we're going to color them red so that they're easier to see. And you go do that by going to Edit, Tonal Correction. I'm sorry. Edit, Convert to Drawing Color. So now we have some red lines. And we'll put down the transparency here so they're not blinding us. About 60%. Now let's go ahead and put another. We can duplicate this one, delete it, and then call this one perspective floor. As you can see, I have not drawn the lines for the floor yet to go up and down. So we will go ahead and do that. The way we'll do that is place another. Where is that line? Here. Okay, so that's on the horizontal line, so we're going to move that down here. Okay, we'll make another vector layer called vertical lines because they're going up and down. We're only going to put them in the center of this, right in here. So we will measure it out with some guides. Let's go ahead and lock this original guide so it does not end up becoming the guide. And we will put our vertical lines in. And we'll turn off the perspective ruler for right this second. You right click on the ruler and hit show or don't show ruler with a check mark. Alright then. So our first vertical line needs to come where it is not on this corner, which is 0 and so it's 0 and 2160. And now we're going to take that width, that's 3840. 3840 and divide it by, I believe, 10 is how we did the other one. You know what? Let's put a grid on here. Grid. There we go. Didn't need to do that. Here's our grid. We can draw the vertical lines with the grid. View. Snap to grid. We're going to make those black originally so that we don't have any doubts where they go. Thanks, program. Sometimes you have to start outside the lines to get into the lines. Of course, if you move it out of the viewport, it will not continue your line. So make sure everything is where you can see it. This is why I'm zoomed out. If you're wondering why I don't know everything about this program, nobody is perfect except for maybe. No, no one's perfect, but no one knows everything these programs do in and out except for the people that use it all the time, which I do not, or the people that developed it, which I am also not. So let's turn the grid back off and turn off snapping to grid. We will make these vertical lines another color. We're going to use orange in this case. Revert to drawing color. And again, we're going to move this down to 60%. I actually might change the background color because that gray is really throwing me off. So let's make it a purple color instead. Revert to drawing color. Yes, you can do this on fills or the lines. Let's go ahead and add a white background. That way we can actually turn this a little transparent and not blind people with it. Temporary blindness, obviously. We're not making fun of blind people here. Please don't do that. Okay, I'll say we're not trying to flashbang people instead. Now, if anybody in the chat is colorblind and Vesper starts blending into anything I'm doing, please let me know and I will change over to Storm. I'm trying to make sure all the colors are not going to do that right now, so. And I am talking a lot more than I expected. Okay, let's go ahead and get the rest of the perspective floor in. And let me see what everybody wants. Never mind. And Dally, no one wanted anything. So let's go ahead and we can turn off the horizontal lines because we don't need those. Let's go ahead and get our perspective floor in. We're going to make it blue. So again, we're going to start where the line is and go up to our vanishing point, which is not visible. Oh, right, I turned it off. Let's try that again. We will not be using blue. We will use black to start with. We'll turn it blue in a bit. Or another color. A lot of the grids and everything on here are blue. And though I do believe you can change the colors, because I'm not going to be using these often. Oh no, you cannot change the color of the tools. I know you can change the color of the grid. Yeah, it looks like you cannot change the color of the tools. You can change the mask color. And you can change the layer colors for animation. But all rulers must be the same color. So your snap enabled rulers, which are the perspective, and your guides must be the same color. There's no way to change the color of them. That's unfortunate. Maybe we should talk to Celsius and see if we can change that, because that can't be good. Now, I don't have a guide on at the moment. All my guides are off. I do have the symmetry tool, which again is the same color as the perspective tool. means I cannot change the color to make sure I know which one is here. So even if I am not colorblind, this is a problem. So I'm wondering why they haven't made it where you can change the color of at least the different tools. I know it's a lot of tools, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And most people use perspective, the symmetry, the guides, and the ruler pin. So they could limit it to like, what do you want a different color? Like you select it and you change the color that you want. I might send that as a suggestion. I will send that as a suggestion. Actually, I'm gonna take initiative and go ahead and do that. Well, anyway, let's get the floor done. So we're gonna start at the bottom where we were before. Make sure the vanishing point is in view and make sure we're touching it. Should be doing it on the other side as well. And we do have it doing it on the other side. Let's go ahead and get these in here. Now we're drawing the grid. Even though I'm drawing this grid, even though it is not 100% necessary in CSP. Because you can use the perspective ruler to do everything. However, if you're drawing in real life with traditional media, you are not going to have the luxury of this. You need to draw your lines in. The lines must be here, because if you don't have them, then you don't know where your perspective is. Now, some people are good at drawing perspective without all this. I can draw perspective without all the grid stuff. However, I still have to have a ruler to do it properly. I have and do use the perspective tools on some things, especially like the canvas I have over here at one side and the table, things that are square. I definitely use perspective tools on. Rounder things, I tend to not do it as much. But it is recommended, and I'll show you why. How you can do it with organic stuff. Let's go ahead and put our center line in. No, one second. I forgot to turn off. Enable snapping is what makes it where it does symmetry. So let's go ahead and turn that off and stay on the line. Oops, wrong line. Again, because I can't tell the difference between the perspective tool and the symmetry tool. Alright. We have drawn the line on the symmetry and the perspective tool together. Now, the other thing I want to draw in is these end marks on either side. No. We'll enable snapping again. And we're going to go to the corner of the page and draw it up to the vanishing point on both sides. Alright then. We are going to change these to a nice, lovely green color. We're going to make it a little darker though. Edit, convert to drawing color. Oh, those are not easy to see. One moment. There we go. Now that we have them a little bit brighter and easier to see on here. And we can turn off the vertical lines. These vertical lines and the horizontal lines will be necessary later. So we're gonna go ahead and make the vertical lines a blue color. No, not blue. I keep saying blue, but I'm not doing that. We'll make them a light blue, mostly because of the fact that once I start drawing everything in here, that's not the sketch. You will be able to see these a little bit better. Uh, I'm not turning them blue because of the fact that the perspective line and the symmetry line are blue, and I do not want to get them confused with my actual lines. So let's go ahead and move on. We have the perspective of the floor, and we have the perspective of the grid line down. And then we have our semi-sketch that we will be doing of the room, which is already on here. Okay, so let's start with the things that are non-organic, and we will draw with a black line to start with. We will convert them to another color once we're done, and we no longer need the grid. For now, we need the grid, so we're going to go ahead and put these in. So I have taken pictures. My room is a mess because we are still trying to move things around. We still have to get organization tools and stuff, so forgive the look of what my room looks like. Where did I put the reference material? Hello? Excuse me? Why is it not where I drew this? Actually, where is this saved? It is under the VTuber. Background. Okay. My refs are not in here. Yay. Okay, never mind. We're going to do a rough outline of the stuff, and we'll deal with the details later, and I'll make sure I have my reference material with me at that point. So let's go ahead and get a generalized version of the table in here. So we're going to draw from here, and we're going to put it in the middle of the perspective lines because it is not viable where it was. We're going to go right. Thanks, CSP. That is not where I wanted that. We're going to go right here to the end. Or maybe my perspective was just that bad. I'm going to go here and draw across. And yes, my perspective was that bad. This is why I always draw my perspective with a ruler when I'm doing non-organic items, because this is what happens. I have a sketch here, which is right here, and you can see where my lines do not match up. Let's go ahead and erase some of the sketch that I've done here. Where did I draw that? Okay, there it is there. Oh, right. It is a vector, so I can just move this over. Okay. Then we'll go down here and across because there is a front to the table. Down. That over. The side of the table is a little higher than the other one, so do not connect with your other perspective line, please. No, do not. I like this. Sorry, could you I guess help my cat into the room? He is being baby, which is okay. Let's go ahead and continue drawing this. There are holders on the sides of my art table as well, so we're going to go ahead and draw those in. Now, the legs are not uh, square, but we are going to go ahead and make sure we have at least a generalized place where they go, which is going to be here. And here. Now, it's not going to be perfect. As I said, we will deal with that later. These are too thick. So we'll add those in after the fact. We're going to go ahead and get some of the other non-organic stuff in here. And I need to make sure that this is a smaller. There we go. So this one, we're going to have a chair. I'm going to go ahead and draw the lines. We have the straight across. This is a sketch anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and let it do what it's going to do. When it comes to the lines. So this is going to be the base of my stool chair. And these are the wheels about where the wheels are in the center point of that. And let's go ahead and just draw a generalized square where the seat is going to be. And we're going to make sure that we have this and where it actually is going to sit. So we're going to make sure we're in with the perspective lines on this one. Yeah, that's right. And we're going to make sure we're here on the perspective lines as well. Delete this one. Next, we are going to come over here to the easel. And again, we are going to draw everything in a perspective. Now, sometimes you can have something that's not in perspective with a perspective line, but it is in perspective with something else. It has its own perspective. I'll explain that as well. I am becoming exhausted, and all I'm doing is talking. Everyone tells me, "Oh, you talk so much, and that ain't not enough." Okay, and then we're gonna put the tray on the front. Get it reached out here. Out here. And then we will draw it across. Like I said, this is only a temporary sketch, so I am not worried about what it actually looks like. Because this is only the perspective sketch. I will be redrawing everything once I have my reference on hand and actually have everything else on hand. This is where things become a little frustrating because sometimes you have things that you need to come out. This is what I'm talking about, the perspective. So there is a line right here where the front leg goes. So what we'll do is go ahead and let it stay where it's at. And just move everything over where it is out of the way. That's where the front leg goes. So we know where it goes. That is a different perspective. That is why it's at a different angle, and it's going to have its own vanishing point. Now the front part will still align with the regular perspective that we have here. It's just we cannot give the perspective it needs right now while we have the perspective tool on. So here is the bottom of the front leg. You have the back, and then there's a second leg on the front as well. So let's go ahead and give it that. Next is my sewing table. Let's go. Yes, I do plan to do sewing as well on stream. Again, this is not something I actually know how to do. I know how to draw. Drawing, great. Let's go. But sewing is something I have not done extensively. I have a bug in my room that is irritating the crap out of me. So I will be learning, and I'll be learning and letting everybody be able to learn with me. I have made masks with my sewing machine, but that's about it. There's this here, which is where it folds across. And it's got its own little grid on it. I'll be a bit more detailed with that later. I'm going to use red and draw a sewing machine on here. There we go. Well, at least a box where the sewing machine goes. Not wide enough. Like I said, the red lines will be gone soon. I just need to have it for showing how you can actually follow the grid. So, if you're doing this in real life, so let's go ahead and turn off the rooms to my sketch, and we will go to the cats that are in the window, as well as the bunny that is in the window. Originally, the bunny was laying on the floor looking at the camera, but I had to change this. So, my animals that have passed away are looking out the window, and the ones that aren't are still looking slightly at the viewer. So as we go up here, here is the head, or at least a box shape that will represent the head. And let me go ahead and convert that to black because I forgot to do that. You can see where I'm following the perspective line to make sure the the animal is looking out the window, and have some ears, which are not going to be in the perspective um, thing going on here. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and do the back. We have the back here going. And again, we're going to follow the lines for the side of the body. And this is basically the chest. And we're going to go ahead and pretend there is a, circuit in the middle of the body. Then we're going to draw the bottom of the body. And make it go with the perspective. And we'll draw the legs and everything that go with this once we do it. But this is just giving you a basic shape where you're going to draw your character inside of it. So, or in this case, a cat inside of it. So let's go ahead and draw a bunny. I think I will use a dark red here because I want to make sure it is separated properly. And again, bunny is looking out the window. And as you can see, as we get to the perspective center, the bunny does not show the side of the head as much. So we're going to go ahead and draw the ears. And they're on the perspective. And the ears on the perspective. Now you probably notice this ear is bigger, and that is because I did not align them. That was to show why you should align things when you do this. So now the ears are lined up. We can draw the rest of the big bunny's body, which the back is really close to the head compared to a cat. And then we have the bottom of the body, which again, very compact compared to cats. He was a Flemish giant, so he will be even more compact than a normal, like what you would see as a wild rabbit or anything like that. Again, here's the perspective. It is very straight, so you're not going to have much in the terms of a perspective change here, except for on the left side. Let's go to second cat. Second cat will be looking toward the viewer, but looking to the right. So what we'll do is make a straight line where the head is. And then make sure we have where the eyes will be. Where the ears will be. So let's go ahead and draw the ears in. And a big ear because it's toward the front. And yes, it's going to look a mess because I'm trying to get perspectives. Let's go ahead and put his neck in. Then his body. And again, make sure and again, these perspectives are not going to be great because we're very close to the vanishing point. So you will have where you're not going to see as much because it's going to be more straight on. But again, like I said, the eyes will be in about this general area. And then we'll put the front of the face on, which will have its own perspective. Well, not its own perspective, but it will have its own box for perspective. We're going to have the second cat also be looking to the right. This one does not have the ears drawn in this time, so we will get that when we get to it. And the interesting thing about drawing perspective is that sometimes you need to make sure that you're not drawing the wrong thing. So here is the back of the head here. And we'll have the ears that will go up in perspective. The ear that will go up in perspective. Again, you want to make sure they're aligned, even though it doesn't look like they should be. And even though the back one will be toward the back, the tops will always align. It doesn't look like they do, but because of perspective, they will align with each other. go ahead and get the perspective at the top of the body here. Again, we want to make sure we draw the face and the eyes where they should about go. We have the body. Again, I pardon the mess of these. This is, like I said, because I am trying to give it a perspective. So I'm trying to do what I would do in real life. Basically, if you want to draw something organic in perspective, you need to draw the boxes. Hello, Nugget. How are you doing? Next thing we want to do is, again, draw the bottom of the body. I may be doing this a bit too big, but we will adjust it when we go to actually draw the cats in. For now, let's just go ahead and get everything done. And then we have the smaller cat that's right here. Again, we'll draw looking to the right. And make sure we have the top of the head, the side, back of the head, and the ears. Well, thank you. We're trying to make sure we have a good vibe because we're trying to make sure everybody can enjoy themselves, including people that need closed captioning and everything. And maybe we'll teach a little bit of how to draw. I don't know how well I'm gonna be good at teaching, but I'm trying my best. We're gonna have that, and this cat should be in line with the other one. So yeah, we're pretty much on track to where the cats do go. They only look big because I'm zoomed in. Okay. So the next thing we're going to draw in is a sketch for the curtains. And again, we're not going to be able to put them in exact, but we can make sure that we have the perspective where they go. So, yeah. So, what I'm doing right now is basically saying, here's where this starts, and here's where this ends. And we got this center part where the bracket will go. There should be one on this other side too. I should have done this in symmetry, so give me one moment. Okay. So I draw these in perspective then. So this is where it's going to start. This is the back. We want to make sure that our grid is where we're going to be. And we want to make sure we know where the front is. And then we will take and do the bottom in the same way. We'll put a grid down as well as the front. And make sure we have our alignments here. So make sure the alignments come in. Give it a little scratch so we know where the center part is. And that's basically how we make sure that everything's in a perspective grid here. Go ahead and turn off that so maybe it's a little bit easier to see. So let me go ahead and change the color of this. What I've done here is where the curtains are, I had these square things here so it can show where the front and the sides of the curtains are. And that is just to give me a general idea where the shapes are. And again, we have, the squares where the um, table and the easel and the sewing machine are. And we will also go in here, and I'm going to go ahead and try to add in the legs for the table. So we need to make sure the legs for the table are equal. So we're a little bit in front of that, so we're going to make sure we're in a little bit in front of this one. And we will very lightly try to draw where the legs go. So here to here. And this table leg, despite being where it is, will also come down to the same line. This one will come down to this line. Oh, I know what's wrong. Ugh. Okay, so because I put the line back here, I need to put the other line back here. So we actually will not see the third leg. Since the legs are going to be like this, we'll go ahead and put the perspective in. Like I said, this is rough. It's not meant to be like perfect. Um, because like I said, the desk does have organic legs. It is rounded. It's not square like this. And where's drawing color? Hello. Oh, that's why. I put the legs with the curtains. Okay then, that's fine. Yeah, I thought that was the case. Accidentally put the I still have the perspective tool on, so we're gonna make some deletions. Oh, no, turn that off. I don't want to get rid of the green from the curtains, but I do want to get rid of this. Good enough. As I said, it is a sketch, so I am not too worried about it. So we'll make this semi sketch. We'll make it blue. No, we will not make it blue. Why do I keep doing this? Why? Because blue's right there. Uh, we'll do that. So everything's a jumbled mess right now. We're going to do one thing at a time, and we are going to work from the background forward. I didn't do that drawing the actual sketch, but you really should draw back to front, especially if you're doing traditional. Because if you drew the front first and then draw the back, you will be putting your hands in the front part. You're going to be erasing things a bit more than what you would normally. At least if you do a very light sketch first, then you're not going to have that problem. So let's go ahead down to a lighter color. And as I said, we don't have the um, what is that? And why did it get there? Okay. It it doesn't matter what something looks like when you start. It matters what it looks like when you get done. As I said, I don't have my references here right now. So it's been an hour. I could go ahead and save this and just go dig for the references, and that way we have them. Or I can go ahead and start drawing something that is a little bit more organic and I don't have to worry about the perspectives. Let's go ahead and do that then. We're just going to go ahead and just draw. We're not going to do anything major. If you have any requests, I'll draw some requests. They're not going to be anything major, just little sketches. Again, even when I'm drawing organic stuff, I do make sure I have perspective going. If you noticed, this is all lined up. So we'll get things drawn here. Just some peats here. Some ears. And some fluff. And you have a storm runner. A very simple storm runner. And this is just a rough sketch, like I said. This is not anything major. This is not anything that is going to win awards. Except for quick. Let's go ahead and also get something with Vesper, which has a longer nose because sheep. They are sheep. And it's not anything major. Like I said, I'm just going to make roughs. Definitely, once you get a rough done, you want to use references. References. Always use references. There are still places out there without AI on it, which I call Leon, which is large um, artificial intelligence uh, something network. I am sorry, it has been a long day. So Leon models are these new things that people call generative AI or just AI, and it is not true AI. But that's not the point I'm getting at. Make sure where you get references are where real things are sitting. You don't want generative or even artist art as your references. Because if you use artist art as your reference, you will end up making the mistakes the the artist you're looking at does. So yeah, don't use my stuff as reference. I do make mistakes. You'll just end up making my mistakes. You should be making your own mistakes. Vesper looks angry here. Sheep sit in the weirdest way. The strangest way possible. Fun fact, ungulates and horses, which are in the ungulate family. This includes also whales, but they're not quite the same. The thing that people mostly see as knees on the front legs, they're actually the wrist. So everything here, including the hooves, this is the fingers. Fingies. And the hooves are the toes. Toes, wrist. And then up here is their elbow. So, looks like something like this, and then their shoulders up here. This is just a rough thing again. It's also why the toes on ungulates tend to look like this versus just this. It's because, like I said, that is a toe. The toe is right here. They usually have some kind of cushion that is back here. And it's not necessarily a cushion like a muscle or something. Sometimes it's the actual hoof. The hoof becomes the cushion back here. And their toe just ends up down here. So yeah, it does mean that when an ungulate sits, they sit like this, which you see with Vesper on my Fugi. They tend to sit like this with their feet out. And then they have their little legs out here that just kind of sit like this. Fun times. I unfortunately think I need to go because I am losing my voice already. Generally, when I play games and stuff, it is not as bad. I am going to get rid of these sketches because they're not really much there. I apologize for a short stream. Like I said, I'm not used to talking so much. But I am starting to have my throat not like me very much. But I will try to do this again next week. I'm assuming as I get going and I start talking more and asking questions, that I will get better at talking longer. I mean, I'm already talking longer than I was before. It was like 30 minutes before I had to stop last time. And it's an hour and 11 minutes this time. So I think that's a good thing. Um, please, thank you for coming. Uh, and take care of yourselves. Make sure you don't strain yourself. Uh, if you do art, make sure you get up every hour and a half to 2 hours and stretch. We do not need all of you getting carpal tunnel or anything else to that effect. Your elbows can get messed up if you keep drawing as well, and your shoulders. So I really recommend rest, rest, rest. Make sure to get up, move around, and stretch. Uh, and with that said, everybody have a good day, and thank you for coming, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.